Hi, my name is Grace Wood, and I am a producer at GC360, and I was formerly the news director. If you don't know what GC360 is, that is the TV station on Georgia College's campus. Um, Today I just want to talk really quickly about the different parts of a package and kind of dissect that and what the different things mean. So first I want to talk about natural sound. So natural sound, I kind of like to start my packages out with natural sound. So it's on the script, it says nat off top. So that's what that means. It's just my package is starting out with natural sound. And if you don't know what natural sound is usually background noise. It's like the sound of a train or birds. In this particular package, it's the people walking around deep roots, and you can hear them talking and walking around and whatever noises deep roots makes. If you don't know what deep roots are, deep roots is it's a uh, celebration of art and culture and music. And this was like the first one since COVID. So this was back in 2022. Um, so um, we're gonna cut to natural sound. And now we're going to talk about SOTs. So SOTs are that stand SOT right here. That stands for sound on tape. And sound on tape is usually an interview of someone.
My whole idea behind the Spider-Man costume was just to spread happiness and cheer within Milledgeville, but also to help spread awareness for different fundraisers going on.
So in the little description, it says interview with Spider-Man. So we got a quote from this local kid who dresses up as Spider-Man and spreads awareness for fundraisers. He was very good with us, and we didn't really have to ask him too many questions. And with interviews, you gotta pick like the best thing that kind of like overall explains that person's vibe or what they're doing. And that is, you write a word for word transcription of that quote, and you put quotations at the end here. So that is what a SOT looks like. And if you noticed, there is two different sides of the script. So for a package, this is the visual aspect that I'm highlighting right here on the left. And then on the right is the audio. So that is the transcriptions of the soundtracks and the interviews. So see here, this is VO. So VO is voiceover. So that is a voiceover of video. So you want a video that kind of goes along with what you're saying. So right after talking with Spider-Man, we cut to a video of Spider-Man interacting with the kids and my voice.
The Deep Roots Festival celebrates Milledgeville and its lively art and culture.
So here, track, that is your voice. It is in all capitals because when you're recording, you want it in all caps because it's easier to read than if it were a regular transcription, like right here. So it's easier to read. That's why it's in all caps. And track stands for soundtrack. That is just a voice recording of your voice. And I have two separate tracks because typically I record each individual sentence or phrase in their own separate tracks. So I start a new track. So that's what it is. So those are kind of like the basic things of what a package is. I also want to talk about the angle of COVID-19. So a lot of times this was like people's first time being there. So I interviewed Kathy Cox. That was her first time as president going to Deep Roots.
It's been fun to see everybody walking around having fun. There are a lot of our students here.
And she's very easy to interview. But not everybody is easy to interview like Kathy Cox. That's just something I wanted to keep in mind. And sometimes you have to ask probing questions. You have to ask follow-up questions. That's what probing means. Or like in Kathy Cox, we asked more an open-ended question, whereas like, how has your deep roots been? But sometimes you need to be specific and ask more closed off questions, because sometimes people get nervous, like this local business owner. If you see here, saw of owner, we had to ask her multiple different questions, and ask her questions to make her feel comfortable. Because not everybody is good on camera. People get nervous. Same with this artist. She got kind of nervous talking to us. So you kind of have to ask questions to make them feel comfortable. So that's something I wanted to talk about. It was interviews. And still leaning onto that angle of people's first time, I interviewed a student. I interviewed a couple different students, but only one interview went in because some students are not very passionate about or like what they're talking about. And so I wanted to ask a student who was passionate or had some students just don't know what to say. So I found a student that was confident on the camera and was excited about being there. So that's what this interview was.
I'm most excited for the food and looking at art.
I also didn't get that student's name, and so that's something. Make sure you get this correct spelling and name of who you're interviewing. I now know who the student was, but I didn't get her name at the time, and so make sure you're getting your name of the person you're interviewing. So it just says here, interview a student, but it should say interview of blah 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 student. And so another thing is to keep in mind who your audience is. So when I was picking a local band to interview, I chose the Battle of Bands winner, which is a Georgia College competition. You have to be a student to compete in, and it's very important to know your audience. And so I was thinking about my audience and I chose a Georgia College band.
Battle of the Bands winner High Speed Dream performed on the local only stage.
So basically, the band met back in February for Battle of the Bands at GCSU's homecoming.
And she was really great to talk to. So keep in mind about knowing your audience. And right here, it says Nat of Emily. So the reason why I counted it as natural sound is because it was just a VO of her interacting with the crowd, and that was one of the things she said in the video. So I just transcribed it, but it still kind of counts as natural sound because it's just her performing with the band. Same with here, I had a transitional of playing music before I went into talking about the band. That's natural sound. It was just natural sound of the concert. And then last but not least, I kind of concluded my package talking about the concert, which you had to pay tickets for, but I didn't have video of that because I didn't pay for a ticket. And then repeating my initial thing about how it's the first one since the pandemic, kind of wrapping it up. And then I end with Grace Wood reporting for GC 360. That is our tagline. And I just kind of want to emphasize, like, this is kind of like what a basic script looks like, but it's not necessarily how all scripts look like. So it's gonna look a little bit different depending on who you work for. Like, I interviewed for 13WMZ and they said their scripts are gonna look different, but most places will train you on how they will do it. But this is kind of like a basic, you gotta know the basics.
Grace Wood reporting for GC 360.